So today we're joined with Setra from the Citystates Balance team. I'm Fruit Guru, and I think this is Setra's first official time kind of on our media channels. So we're going to get a quick idea of who he is and what he does. So Setra, thank you very much for taking the time to actually come on here. I know you're extremely busy with work, City States, and then also you're a family man like myself. So thanks for coming on. And can you just tell the community maybe a little bit about yourself and how you ended up getting involved in City States?
Hi everyone. Hi Fruit. It's nice to, well, meeting you virtually, I guess. So in short, um, I'm in my mid 30s. I have two kids. I live in the US, but I am originally from Russia. I've been in the US for more than 10 years, so I don't consider myself Russian anymore, especially after recent experiences.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So let's see. I work in the university. I'm a researcher. So I work on multiple projects, and my field of expertise is data science. It's also physics, engineering. I'm not just going very broad. I don't want to go too deep into this. And let's see. So I teach students, and I mostly do research related to industrial production of integrated circuits.
Oh, wow. Jeez,
Yeah,
it sounds very complex.
yeah. Well, I mean, you spend 10 years working there, and then you're fine.
Fair.
Um,
And how did you end up coming over to City States out of interest?
yeah, that's so in 2021. It was about, yeah, it's a bit less than a year ago. I started doing research on NFTs. I learned about them, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Where can they be used? It was not about the money, about investing. I just wanted to do it for fun.
Hmm.
And I realized that, well, everything that people do right now is it's kind of crap. So all the art, I don't think it's art, honestly. I think that the NFTs have huge potential, but right now everything it looks horrible. And then I realized that, hey, but video games is the way to go, because I'm a uh, I used to play video games a lot. So right now I have two kids. It's impossible, pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
But in the past, I was a pretty heavy player. So just to let you know what I like,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course, my preferences, well, starting from, I don't know, 2000s. It's of course Fallout 2,
Oh,
Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Uh, let's see, Diablo, of course, Diablo 2.
very good. Oh, yeah,
Trying to think
Diablo's
of.
always good. What's your main? What do you generally spec into in Fallout? What's your typical build?
Oh yeah, it's a sniper.
Sniper. Okay, yeah, yeah, very good.
One of the main. I hate melee. I hate just killing people with guns. It's
Fair.
impossible. But so yeah, I love Fallout because they have so many ways to develop. Right? It's you can't be perfect everywhere.
Hmm.
And this is what I like, and this is actually what we're trying to do in City States. We don't want you to be perfect in every field.
Yeah.
You just have to pick your place and then just be a part of the economy. But going back, uh, so right now, I think my most favorite games are Factorio for sure. Factorio, Oxygen not included, and I strongly recommend. If you didn't play it, just go and download Oxygen.
Yeah, I'll
It's
give it a
so
go. Yeah,
amazing.
I haven't played it though.
And probably Kerbal Space Program
Oh yeah, we
is
talked about
great.
that before. Yeah, that's too big brain for me, unfortunately. I'm
Yeah.
happy if I can get the rocket to launch.
And I don't know, city builders in general, but there are not many of them.
Yeah,
I'm going deep into this.
yeah. No,
So
you're good. You're good.
SimCity, I love SimCity. I love SimCity Rush Hour. It was a great game. And in I still remember in 2014, they announced that they're going to release new SimCity. I'm like, whoa, this is so cool.
Yeah,
So I pre-ordered it. I think I spent I still remember it was $74. It was the highest,
Jeez, yeah.
the largest price that I paid for a video game. I did it because well, I became a grad student. I had a decent salary here in the US, and I decided that hey, I love SimCity, so I'm going to do it. So I pre-ordered, and it was a disaster. So it was horrible because in the beginning they wanted to do exactly what the CSM is aiming to do.
Okay.
They said that cities will produce resources, and then you'll be able to trade between cities. And it was kind of free economy, and I was very excited because this is what I wanted to play. I wanted to play such a game for a really long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it turned out that they screwed it up completely.
Yeah.
So after release, they changed many things, and right now it's just nah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I never played it myself, but I do remember the public reception was pretty frosty when it did come out. It didn't go down too well.
I'm hoping that CSM will actually will make it. I'm hoping that it will be the first game where you can actually do free economy. You can play in free economy. So looking forward. That's
Good.
what I'm trying to do.
Interesting. I guess I'll start talking a little bit about balancing, since that's
Sure.
your whole shtick with city states, and balancing. It's one of those funny things, and I'm just as guilty as what I'm about to say as most other people. But it's one of those things where generally everybody kind of identifies an issue a game might have, and they feel like they have the answer. I think as a balancer, you get a lot of shtick from the community at one point or another if something doesn't feel right. Because they're like, well, why don't you just do this? And I'll give a perfect example of myself being guilty of this. And this is back when we were running the PvP beta, and dual wields were significantly underpowered, or I guess not up to scratch compared to other units. A lot of people know dual wielders are my favorite. And I kept typing in the channel, maybe a few too many times, give them more crit chance. And I was convinced that was the answer. Now, I put my hands up. I know nothing about balancing in a game. I'm just an armchair spectator on that front. And then you guys turned around and well, we're actually going to give them one extra ability point or action point. And I kind of thought, I don't know about that, but I'm not going to complain. I'll try it. And then once I tried it, it was absolutely amazing. It felt like the unit had an identity of a fast, dangerous assassin, and it just made so much sense. But it wasn't until I actually gave it a go that I realized that more crit wasn't the problem. It was something else. So yeah, it's one of those things that I don't really understand when you get into the nuts and bolts, and I think a lot of other people don't see how deep it goes. So with that in mind, with a game as complex as City-States Medieval with all its layers, where do you even start? And I guess you might need to give two different answers for economy and PvP maybe, because they're so different.
So first of all, don't be so harsh on yourself. It's actually it was a good idea, just increasing crit chances. It's not a problem that would solve this issue, but we and I and Dirk and Leonard, he's the lead of the dev team. We really think that the game shouldn't be flat, right? So we don't want it to be so blunt that if you want to improve a unit, you just want to increase its health or increase damage. That's why we just try to find something new, and I think that adding this extra action point was a very good idea. I think.
No, it just made such a difference, and it's exactly like you say. It made the unit more fun. It wasn't just the stat stick added. It opened up new play styles. It opened up new tactics, and altogether, yeah,
Right.
it worked really well. Yeah.
Really don't want to be primitive. We just try to be fun. And again, the main purpose of this game is it has to be fun, right? We spend a lot of time thinking how to make it fun, and then we test, and then we try to get feedback from players, and we test it. It's amazing how long it takes
Yeah.
to make something decent. But going back to the economy, so I think it's just better to talk about economy. Economy. If I talk about PvP, I don't think that we're gonna finish today. Yeah, I don't have enough coffee for that. Well, you go and you check similar games like let's say Travian. I played Travian in the past. So you go there, take all the tables, plot them, analyze them, and realize that it's never gonna work in CSM. So you delete everything. You just get depressed and then start from scratch.
Yeah.
And at this point, you're like, okay, you have to make something on your own because all computer games, they're based on the fact that they give you resources and they don't cost you anything. They don't cost them anything,
Yeah.
right? And it's so simple. I mean, I don't know. I make a gold mine. Gold mine costs 100 gold, and then they start producing gold, and I give players 10 gold every hour. So this means that if in CSM it's never gonna work, right? Because people will just buy, they use cash, they buy this gold mine, and then in less than a day they're going to be in profit. This means that the price of gold will constantly go down. It will never work.
Yeah.
It will destroy the game. And if you do it, if you make one mistake, right? So we have 10 resources right now. If you make one mistake, then go. The entire game will be destroyed.
Yeah.
So how do you make it balanced? Well, I approached it from the side when I didn't set specific numbers. So it's not like I make a forester and said, okay, let's just invent some numbers and say, okay, here's the price for a forester, and then I'm going to upgrade it and blah, blah, blah. And this is the price for a level 1, level 2, and so forth. It's a bit more complicated. So I have all the resources and all the buildings, and the model that we have right now is it binds them all together, and they all interact with each other. And I cannot change just one number right now.
Yeah.
If I change something, then all the resources, I'm just using primitive words, they talk to each other, and then they agree on what's the best balance for them all. So it's pretty complicated. I don't want to go too deep into this.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
I worked when I was an undergrad. Was really long time ago. I dealt with thermodynamics.
Okay.
So it's something that guides our world. And here's a simple example. So in thermodynamics, everything should be in equilibrium. So let's say you have three elements: A, B, and C. And you want to make an element that's made of A, B, and C. So let's call it ABC. You have several routes, right? You can make A plus B, so you can make AB, and then you can add C, and here you go. Here's your ABC. Or you can add C to A, so you make AC, and then you add B, and you have ABC in the end.
Yep.
What you want to do is you don't want you don't want channels that would be preferential, right? You want them all to be in equilibrium. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm using this knowledge about thermodynamics to actually try to make all those things related to each other such that there is no shortcut.
Of course.
There's
Yeah.
no way to, let's say, generate wood, and it will be the most efficient to do it in this way, and then I just ignore everything like making food and stuff like that. So I just generate wood and sell it, and then I'm in huge profit. So we would try to avoid such things, and I think that right now it's completely impossible to do it with the current arrangement.
And I guess like unlike traditional city building games, and you did kind of touch on this there, but obviously City-States resources have a real world value since we're on the blockchain. And yeah, so as you're saying, like the player kind of has to constantly decide whether they want to sell a resource or maybe even just invest it back into their account for a potentially bigger long-term gain. And I think this is going to be something that a lot of people are wondering about. So I'm going to ask this question. It might be a little bit difficult to answer right now, but when we're actually looking at the early stages of the game, so maybe first few days, Will it actually be possible to get an advantage over other players by making smart trades, specifically early, or is the game more balanced around this being a kind of later stage function?
Well, first of all, the market is not available for the first few days.
Okay.
And that's for obvious reasons, right? We have to give people resources in the beginning, and we don't want bots to just constantly create accounts and just dump
Of
those.
course, yeah.
In the beginning, it will be for a few days.
Okay.
You are not going to have access to the market in terms of selling. So you can buy from the market. You
Okay.
can go and have free hacks, or you can buy hacks if you want to. And free hacks, I mean those who use referrals.
Yep.
You start slowly. It's not something. It's not a game that starts very very quickly. Yeah, you're gonna build a couple of buildings. The production rates will be high in the beginning, and it's just to show people what we have in the game, that they can build many different buildings. But then the development will get a bit slower, and this is where market is going to open. So let's say it's level 5, right? And by level, I mean castle level. So in this game, castle level, it just determines everything. So you cannot build, I don't know, forge up to until you reach castle level 4, for example, and so forth. So for trading, I think you cannot trade until level, well, let's say level 5.
Okay.
So by level 5, the development will really be just slow. You're going to play with just see how economy works, how resource generation work, and so forth. But one advice that I want to give everyone is don't build too many low level buildings.
Okay. Remember this guy. This is from the balance master himself. So take,
Right. Yeah.
if you remember
So yeah,
anything.
the idea here is that low-level buildings are going to generate many resources in the beginning. Again, the main reason is that we want people to not get bored, right? If I make a forester that makes, I don't know, it costs 100 wood to make it, and then it generates 1 wood per hour. You need 100 hours to actually build another forester. So it's insane, right? You don't want to do something like that. But then if we're going to make it very efficient in the beginning, and people may feel that, oh, but then at level 5 or level 10, then instead of building just taking my forester and upgrading it to level 10, I can just build a bunch of level 1 foresters, and hey, I'm going to get huge profit. Well, no, sorry, you're not that smart. What we try to do is we try to limit this by actually introducing consumption for many different aspects in the game. For example, well, your citizens are going to require food, and more developed your city is, the more food they require. So basically, at level 1, you can live with the forester level 1, and you have 5 citizens working in this forester, and they generate wood. But then at level 10, when castle is level 10, and your population, they kind of felt that, hey, it's not a village anymore. We live in a town, right? So we want more resources. We want beer. We want to eat better.
They start getting a little
So at this
greedy.
point, right. Yes, they get more greedy. This means that sustaining a single citizen is going to cost you more, but
Okay.
it's all right because you're going to generate more and more resources at higher levels. So now, if you take this citizen and put him or her into the forester level 1, then you're going to have a problem because forester will generate still the same amount of resources, but this citizen is going to require even more than, let's say, he or she is able to generate in this forester level 1. So the bottom line is, it's all right to build many low level buildings in the beginning, but you will see that it will not be beneficial in the end. So
Right.
you don't want to.
It's a very short-sighted strategy, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not sure what Dirk's thoughts are, but I really don't want to give players, exact tables and say, hey, this is what the forester is going to do at level 10 and so forth. Love people to just explore. So they would explore and maybe post their findings online, and then they communicate with each other and then find optimal solutions. So I hope that we can do it, because I think this is the funniest thing in computer games, right? Uh, just don't try to find the optimal route just online. Do it
Yeah,
yourself. Just play with the game.
yeah, absolutely. No, that was actually a really good answer, because obviously I do kind of the videos and stuff, and I talk a little bit about it, but it's much easier for me to actually hear from someone who's helping design the system, all the kind of nuances of it, because I would never have been aware of that. It's something that I'd actually wondered: should I be building loads of foresters at the start? Is this the best way? So hearing that personally is great. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who will be writing that down now. Hopefully, do remember it.
Just a quick comment, just summarizing. I don't want to say that you shouldn't build many low-level buildings. I'm just saying that in the future, maybe it may be a good idea to actually remove them and build something else instead of them.
Right.
This may be a good strategy, and this may be the best strategy, in fact. But just don't be afraid to delete buildings.
Yeah, no, that does make sense, because obviously, like, one of the things that I've been kind of speculating on for a long time is that obviously, as the economy grows and evolves, deleting a building or a few even, and kind of going, right, this isn't working for me, I actually need to do a little bit of a city redesign to make myself more profitable and get a little bit further quicker, is something that players are going to need to do. Yeah. Okay, cool. No, that's good. And I mean, obviously, there's been a ton of work going into balance recently, and I've tested a good few of the changes myself. One of the things that I really want to do is actually have a couple of days to test without using any dev tools, because I think yeah, you know what I mean? It makes, so just for anyone watching who isn't aware, we have dev tools in the test build where we can skip time by an hour. And while this is great for testing, because obviously you get through everything a little bit quicker, it doesn't give you a full experience. And we can't turn around to players and go, well, this is great because we've tested this. We did 3 weeks of gameplay in a couple of hours without actually feeling it. So that aside, because obviously that's something we need to do, how happy are you with the balance changes in the city right now? Have there been any major challenges or anything that you've had to overcome?
I wrote my own software for balancing this.
Okay.
The way the software works is that it does not allow you, it's just impossible to make gold mine more profitable than the iron mine, for example.
Oh, that's,
so it's
geez.
already, yeah, right now
Wow.
it's locked. Like, it will just not allow you to do it.
Wow, that's incredible. Gee.
Yeah, this is the main advantage of what has been done. So balancing, it does not assume that you have final numbers. Balancing takes care of the fact that none of your resources are going to be extremely profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it doesn't mean that we know exactly what the output of each mine should be right now.
Right.
So this has been done. Okay, this is the core.
Okay. Wow.
But our goal right now is to actually make the game fun.
Right.
So that's why we need testing, right? We need to play the game ourselves, and then we'll probably need several rounds of beta and let people play and say, hey, yeah, it's too slow. Okay, that's great. This would be a very useful feedback for us. So we go back and adjust those coefficients, and we don't touch balance.
That's huge. I think that's a really good explaining the difference, because this is something I think a lot of people, especially myself, didn't actually understand the difference between the two. So that's really cool to hear that we've actually progressed that far.
And so right now the plan is we'd like to make adjustments and make the game such that you reach high levels. High, I mean, let's say level 20 is pretty high. You reach level 20 in, let's say, 3 months of active playing, something like this. And at this point, there will be new things introduced. We're going to introduce new resources if everything goes according to schedule. We're going to introduce new buildings and so forth.
Great answers. I've actually learned a load during this myself, so that's really cool. I didn't expect so many detailed responses, so thank you. I've got a little bit of a cheeky question, kind of for the community. You've already given us a great tip with multiple buildings, and perhaps if you do that, it's good to remove them. But when I've been testing myself, I generally always build the forester first, followed by either a second forester and then a farm. Obviously, things might change a little bit, but what do you think of that strategy? How would you, as someone as balanced, what would be your first three buildings? We'll give a little tip to the community who watch this for when they're starting out, if you can answer this.
I also do the same thing.
Okay.
I usually build one forester, then one farm, and
Okay.
then second forester. When I test the game, I would just recommend going and checking how many piles of wood citizens use per hour. So let's say the citizens need to use wood for warming up their houses, and I don't know, one person is going to use just making up this number, one wood per hour.
Okay.
And then you go to a forester and see that the forester produces 20 wood per hour. So you just do a simple math, and you realize that in order to sustain a village of 20 people, you need one forester to just work for those people, right?
That makes sense.
And
That.
and then yeah, and then just use the simple math, and you need the second forester to actually develop, right? So if you have only one forester, then you're just stagnating. It's just everything is stable. You just feed your people, you warm them up, but you're not developing.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, just do this kind of calculation yourself, and try to find out, hey, do I need one more forester to actually develop? Do I need two more foresters to go faster? But then yeah, remember that it's everything is related. It's pretty cool actually. I really like this game right now because you need to build farms to feed people as
Of
well,
course, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And yeah, and now everything is related to each other, so it's really hard to say how many foresters you need, because the more foresters you need, the more farms you need, and so forth. And this is the funniest part, because
Yeah.
you just go and explore, and with just depending on the castle level, there's an optimal combination of production facilities. It will not be easy to actually make your village completely sustainable, and this is perfect. This is how real world works, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You just don't produce everything yourself. You just communicate with your neighbors and see, hey, they have many farms. Why don't we trade? And
Yeah.
I'll make food for them, and they'll make food for me.
Well, listen, thank you so much for giving the time and actually coming on and explaining in such great detail, I might add, about this. As I said, I've learned a load from this myself. Be heavily suggesting that people actually watch this if they're really interested in kind of how the project's coming along. Once again, thank you. Is there anything you want to say before we close?
Yeah, no problem. I'm more than happy to talk for like the entire day. So
Oh, maybe we'll come back and do another one of these later, more specific mechanics or something, because it's actually really interesting talking to someone who has their hand in the pie, so to speak. That's probably the completely wrong analogy, but the first thing that came to mind. Okay, well, I guess we'll wrap it up for now. Thank you once again so much for coming on. If you want to say goodbye to our fantastic community.
oh yes, absolutely. To you guys. So I'm in Discord, and Fruit is also in Discord all the time. So if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to discuss anything you want to. And see you. Hoping that we'll talk more. You guys.
Brilliant. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching as always. Bye.